Okay, so you want to know about this whole B3 thing, right? Like, should you even care? We've got all these articles and data, and we're going to really see if B3 is just hype or if this is something you actually need to, pay attention to.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like B3 is calling itself a layer 3 blockchain settlement layer built on Base, and they're saying it's for on-chain gaming.
Layer 3. I mean, honestly, that just sounds kind of intimidating, and I don't even really know what Base is.
Yeah, no, those are good questions to start with. So Base is an Ethereum layer 2 solution, and it's built by Coinbase. So, right away you can see that B3 is connected to a major player in the crypto world. And that choice to, build on Ethereum for their layer 2 is strategic.
Okay, so why is that strategic?
Well, Ethereum has the biggest developer community, and that could give B3 a real advantage when it comes to getting good developers and building out their platform. Now, about layer 3, think of it this way. Blockchain solutions are like infrastructure. Okay, so layer 1 is the foundation. That's your Bitcoin or Ethereum. Then layer 2 builds on top and makes things faster and cheaper. And then layer 3 zooms in on a specific use. And in this case, B3 is focusing completely on gaming.
So they're not just like another coin. They want to be the platform for blockchain gaming. I mean, that's a pretty big move.
It is. And that's where this idea of an open gaming ecosystem comes in, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to make things simpler for both developers and players. I think one of the articles mentioned chain abstraction. It's this idea of making different blockchains work together seamlessly.
So imagine you're playing a game and you can easily transfer your items or currency between different games, even if they're built on different blockchains.
Exactly. That's the vision they're going for.
Yeah, that would be huge for, anyone who's tried to navigate the blockchain gaming world. It's a lot of juggling different wallets and tokens just to play a few different games.
Yeah, for sure.
But what about the B3 token, the $3 token? What's that all about? Is it just for, hype?
Not really. I mean, the B3 token, it actually has a few important roles. So first, it's used for governance. And what that means is token holders get to vote on decisions that affect the project, which direction it goes. So it's not just developers calling the shots. It's also used for transactions in games and to access some features in the games, depending on the game.
So it's actually being used, in the games themselves. That's pretty interesting. But let's be real, the price has been kind of all over the place. I mean, we've got data here saying it's somewhere between 0.005 and 0.06606 right now. But it hit an all-time high of 0.01906 back on February 12th.
Right.
And then there's these recent drops. They're almost 10% just in the last day. That's going to make people a little nervous, right?
Volatility is definitely a factor here. And it's something anyone looking at B3 needs to think about. Is this just normal for a new crypto, or is it something else? Is there something, wrong with the project?
Right. What's going on?
We do see that, over the past year, B3 is up over 36%, but these recent drops are pretty big, They're pretty steep.
So could it be that the hype from the airdrop and the exchange listings is starting to fade? I mean, it's a big deal getting listed on Coinbase and Bybit right away. Not a lot of projects can pull that off.
Yeah, true. Those listings definitely showed some early confidence from big, right? Zero gas is a really powerful idea. I mean, imagine playing, a blockchain game and you don't have to worry about those transaction fees. That's what they're promising. And it could be a big thing for gamers who aren't really into crypto because of those fees.
And if a project like JetBolt can actually do that, doesn't that make B3 less attractive, even with, the Coinbase connection, especially if those whales start moving over?
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Yeah. B3 is going to have to show that their open gaming ecosystem offers something that's truly unique. They got to stand out to stay ahead. And getting those big players, attracting those whales is going to be huge for them to succeed long term.
Okay, so we've got this potential rivalry thing going on, and then there's the whole staking thing with B3. They're saying you can get access to game chain tokens, early game access, even voting rights if you stake your B3. That sounds like a good way to build a loyal community, right?
Yeah, staking is definitely a way for them to reward early adopters and, encourage them to hold on. But are those benefits enough? Are they enough to make up for the risks, especially with the price going up and down so much?
Right. Okay, so to recap a bit, B3 is aiming high, right? They're trying to build this whole gaming ecosystem on top of Base and Ethereum. They've got some big names behind them, but there are some, serious challenges. So should someone go all in on this? Is it worth betting on?
That's the question, isn't it? Let's look at the details and see if we can figure that out.
We're talking about like the staking benefits that B3 is offering. It seems like they really want the community to be involved, right? Like it's not just about, holding the token. It's more than that.
Yeah, you're right. They want people to actually participate. It's a good point.
So by staking B3, it's like saying, hey, I think this is going to work. I'm a part of this.
Yeah, exactly. It gives them a voice, almost like being a shareholder in a company,
But just like with a company, there are risks. I mean, we saw how much the B3 price can change, how volatile it is. So it's not just about rewards. You could lose money too.
Absolutely. Anyone looking into B3 really needs to do their research. Don't just buy into the hype. Look at the fundamentals, understand the technology.
Right. Make sure you know what you're getting into.
Yeah, and really weigh the potential rewards against the risks.
Okay, so we've talked about the tech, the token, the price going up and down, even the competition. But for someone who's, just learning about B3, why should they care? What's the big picture here?
Well, B3 is trying to do something pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
Right? They're trying to bring gaming and blockchain together in a way that works for everyone. Developers, players, everyone.
And they're trying to solve real problems like high transaction fees, complex setups, and making different games connect with each other.
Exactly.
I mean, we've seen some signs that they're getting somewhere, right? The airdrop created buzz, the Coinbase and Bybit listings gave them some street cred, and even those big whales are starting to notice.
Yeah, those are all good signs, but it's early, Can they really make this open gaming ecosystem work? Can they compete with projects like JetBolt offering that zero gas thing?
Yeah, those are the big questions. And the answers are going to determine if B3 is just a fad or if they're really changing the game, so to speak.
Right. It's not just about the technology itself. It's about how they use it to create a better experience for gamers. And that's where it gets interesting. We're talking about a potential shift in how games are developed, funded, even owned.
So it's not just about playing games. It's about changing the whole system.
Exactly. They're trying to make things more decentralized, more democratic, where players have a say and the value they create is shared more fairly.
That sounds pretty radical, but is it, actually possible? Can a niche approach like this really go up against the big gaming companies?
I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right? Time will tell.
Well, we've given you a lot of information about B3. It's probably a lot to take in. So for our listener, what's the one thing they should remember from all this?
I think the main takeaway is that B3 is all about bringing gaming and blockchain technology together. Yeah. It's a big experiment, and it could change the gaming industry, but it's not without its challenges,
So should everyone go out and buy B3 tokens right now?
I can't answer that. We've presented the information, the potential, and the risks. It's up to each person to do their own research and decide if B3 is a good fit for them, for their goals, for their risk tolerance.
Right. Investing is a personal decision, and it's always important to be informed and responsible. But even beyond investing, you have to admit there's something exciting about what B3 is doing. We're seeing a new kind of gaming experience being born.
I agree, for sure. And that excitement drives innovation and progress. B3's journey shows the power of ideas and how blockchain can really change industries.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into B3, we want to leave you with a question to think about. We've seen how B3 is trying to, find its place in gaming using blockchain. But can it really last? I mean, what could B3's impact on the future of gaming even look like?
It's a great question. The gaming industry is huge, and it's always changing. So for B3 to really make an impact, they can't just be getting a small player. They need to get a lot of developers on board and convince regular gamers that blockchain actually makes games better.
Right. And it's not just the games. It's the whole experience. Wallets, marketplaces, community features, all of that.
You got it. And then there's regulation. The crypto world is still kind of figuring out the rules. And that could make some people hesitant to get involved.
Yeah. And then there's the competition too. We talked about JetBolt and their whole zero gas thing.
Yeah.
If B3 can't offer something similar, they might fall behind, especially with those whales we talked about.
For sure. B3's made some good moves using the Ethereum network, getting on those big exchanges early on, but they need to keep innovating to stay ahead.
So it sounds like B3 is at a turning point. They have potential, but also a lot of challenges. It's going to be interesting to see where they go from here and if they can actually achieve their goals.
Definitely. And for, our listener, I think this deep dive has shown some things to remember. First, don't just buy into the hype. Do your own research, learn about the technology, and think about the risks.
And second, remember that blockchain and gaming are still evolving. What seems niche now could be huge later. So stay curious, keep learning, and maybe you'll be the one to find the next B3, before it blows up.
Yeah, that's the attitude. Be open-minded, do your homework, and remember, knowledge is power in this space.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So that wraps up our deep dive into B3. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time for another exciting look at the world of blockchain, tech, and everything in between.